Greetings. I would like to start off this presentation with a simple but deep question. What are your innermost desires? Is it owning the nicest and biggest house in your neighborhood, having a great, well-paying job, having status and power in your community, being a famous sports star or musician? On the surface, these materialistic things may sound nice and appealing, but deep down, I think what we truly desire is to have peace, to be free from fear, oppression, and ego, and most importantly, to love and be loved. This is the true nature of ourselves and the spiritual philosophy of neo-humanism, first introduced by the tantric spiritualist P.R. Sakar of India. In my last video, I briefly introduced the topic of sentiments and how our practices of them can distract us from living fulfilling, dynamic lives. But what exactly are sentiments? Sentiments are deeply held attitudes, values, and beliefs. For example, on a day of national independence, such as the 4th of July in the United States or July 1st here in Canada, citizens become patriotic for the love of their country. Parades, parties, barbecues, and family and community events instill a sense of belonging for all of its people. This is all well and good. However, a delicate balance must be maintained between pride and love of country and then believing that your country is the best in the world and all other countries are less deserving, second-rate, or even barbaric and primitive. Some believe that citizens of other countries are poor and deprived and don't deserve care and attention because they don't think or behave like we do. This is known as a geo-sentiment, along with other sentiments such as geoeconomics, geo-religion, and so forth. Once you agree that these sentiments keep us confined to our own little worlds because they place us in a box where we dare not break out of because of fear and ignorance, we think we will be criticized by our friends and family for not being patriotic if we counter the argument that other countries too have equal footing and their cultures need to be honored and respected, correct? Thus, it is easy to see that our geo-sentiments constrain our spirits and consciousness and create an imbalance between our outer physical worlds and our internal psycho-spiritual worlds, don't you think? As a result, citizens are not able to expand and maximize their full potentialities as caring human beings for one another and all life on Earth. This is not our true purpose as humans. We are geared towards greater things, and I think you would agree. I would like to share a brief personal story about this dilemma. Many years ago, I worked as an archaeologist for a Native American tribe in Oregon. In 1855, the U.S. government forced many indigenous groups off of some 10 million acres of traditional territory to live and settle on a much smaller reservation and become Christian farmers, much like themselves. Farming, of course, was contrary to their traditional livelihoods of hunting, gathering, and particularly fishing for salmon, which had supported them successfully for thousands of years, based on my archaeological studies. This is a prime example of a geo-sentiment, and today, Native Americans resent the treatment they received. Understandably, because nobody wants to be told that their traditional livelihoods, languages, songs, and spirituality were to be eradicated under the guise that they were inferior to the so-called superior forces that changed their way of life forever. But geo-sentiments have deep roots in all humans, and not just oppressors. I was shocked to learn while working on the reservation that they too were racist and prejudiced. Not against me for being an outside Caucasian supervisor, but against other Native Americans living there on the reservation. And why did this occur? In 1879, a small number of desert-adapted Native Americans from Washington and Nevada moved to the reservation, and from the start, they were considered outsiders because they had a different language and a way of life. Salmon fishing was not an important part of the diet. They were far more dependent on gathering roots and seeds in the parched desert landscapes. These people who led a challenging poor life under these conditions were thus considered second class. Now, to this day, there are skirmishes and conflicts over their cultural identities that are tied to much different geographies and livelihoods, and these geo-sentiments result in distrust, annihilation, crime, and hurt feelings. I was saddened to hear and witness this while living on the reservation. So, how do we neutralize these geo-sentiments that distract us from becoming responsible and conscious human beings? The only and best way is to cultivate a mentality based on social equality, taking responsibility, and fight against injustice at all levels. At its core, it is a spiritual devotion to kindness, compassion, love, and to the divine presence all around us and within each one of us. It is to realize that humanity is one and indivisible. It is also a commitment to analytically studying the nature of group sentiments and devising solution-oriented approaches with rationality and logic, rather than with sentimental, dogmatic, and superstitious thoughts and behaviors. Once we reach a stage, we realize that we no longer wish to devote any attention to unscrupulous religions and political vocal revolutionaries who don't contribute to the welfare of anybody other than themselves. In closing, I would just like to remind all of us to be diligent against sentimental, irrational, and fearful conspiracy theories, lies, and propaganda that we read, view, and hear in our external worlds, because they can cause great harm to the sanctity and balance of our minds. Again, all humans have a higher purpose, which is to honor, respect, and love all creation. In my next video, I will explore this in more detail to help you become more logical and rational and provide steps to help you achieve a peaceful state of mind. If you enjoyed and learned something from this video, press the thumbs up button, subscribe, ring the bell for future videos, and I will see you again soon. Thank you.